Let's take a look at the Silver Bullet hour in the New York AM session on US500. So we're clearly very extended at the moment, almost making new highs. In fact, we are at the highs of the year. So I've had to start on the daily chart just to try and get some reference of potential targets coming into the session. So my initial target is this top buy side here, which is one of our daily swing highs. Drop down onto the 4 hour so we can refine this a little bit more. Scroll all the way back. I've marked out various 4 hour swing highs. We can also see we've got a 4 hour fair value gap here. I've highlighted this because I've noticed that this week we've been respecting the midpoint of this fair value gap really nicely. Not particularly any use to us as we're trading right now, but I just thought that was quite a cool thing to point out. 50% of the fair value gap seems to have been holding really well over the past 12 to 24 hours. So we can see coming into this session, let's drop onto the 15-minute chart where we normally do our setups. Similar to yesterday, we've been pretty parabolic. We are just flying and smashing through every single level. So we've taken previous day's high, we've taken this initial 4 hour that I marked out, we've taken the weekly high, we've taken this 4 hour swing high. Our sell side below us is not until the open of the New York session. Let's drop onto the 1 minute. Looking on the 1 minute, we can see obviously this very bullish trend. We've smashed through this level, we've displaced above, so we've broken structure, left fair value gaps above, respected the fair value gap in the 950 macro, and again began to pump up. So the Silver Bullet hour starts here. And we can see that we left a fair value gap here. Our eyes are on this previous daily high above us. As confluence, we've got this order block as well that we've left behind. So as we join price action here, we can see two fair value gaps inside this one large order block. We've just tapped the top of the order block and filled the utmost fair value gap. So the entry would be in that fair value gap, looking at a 5 handle stop loss, 5 handle take profit, which is essentially taking the session highs. The view is that we are now currently displacing above the 4 hour liquidity that we highlighted just a moment ago, meaning that this liquidity above us is more likely our target. In the trade, fair value gap again, displacing higher, we've hit profit. So that's a very nice quick trade. Ultimate target will be taking out the highs up here. So I would have closed out by now. I know many would be looking for a 2 to 1, which is just above here. Let's just drag that down to a nice 2 to 1 and see if we could get a 2 to 1. 10 handles. So price is failing to take the high at the moment. Quite a deep retracement back into that order block. We are now approaching the end of the Silver Bullet hour. Big drop away. As we approach the end of the Silver Bullet hour, we're obviously broken structure lower now, potentially looking for some extra liquidity before we can take the high. So we would have been stopped out before getting the 2 to 1 if you hadn't have closed out at the 5 handles, as would have been my plan. And essentially retested the 4 hour high from earlier. And we are now making our way back up. And up to current time, we are dumping back down. So it does seem quite suspect that we nearly got to that daily high, but we've not quite been able to take it out. We are pulling back. I would expect at some point that that high is going to get taken. But a very profitable session if we were to be able to properly identify this order block, fair value gaps, and understand that we have broken above this 4-hour liquidity, displaced above it to take our eyes onto the higher liquidity. So quite a straightforward trade, really nice price action for the initial part of the Silver Bullet. If you're looking for 5 handles like I would be, there is the potential for the reversal trade here. I would be cautious of taking a short on this, but obviously we can see we have taken liquidity here, broken down. We've left 2 fair value gaps. Entry on the first fair value gap clearly would have been a very profitable trade if you were going to take that short. From there, same, not my trade because we're too close to that liquidity above us, so I would be too cautious about taking that. So I hope that was useful. Pretty straightforward, simple levels. The only difference today really is we've had to go back quite far to previous months in order to find liquidity that's above us for our targets. Hope that was useful for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week with some more market reviews.